Nearly 60% of retirees claim Social Security before full retirement age, often because of three major misconceptions. They isolate Social Security from the rest of their plan, and that's a mistake. In this video, we're going to unpack those three myths and show how to make Social Security work harder for your retirement. Misconception number one: I'm filing early so I can spend more when I'll enjoy it the most. You'll hear this come up a lot in most Social Security discussions. The idea is, I want to enjoy my retirement while I'm healthy and active, so I'll claim Social Security early to boost my spending now, when it matters the most. On the surface, this seems to make some sense. Research does show that retirees tend to spend more in the early years on travel, hobbies, and other discretionary expenses. And that spending often declines with age. And yes, we know that delaying Social Security gives you a larger guaranteed income stream later. So if you think you'll be spending less as you age, you might wonder, well, why would I delay income until a phase of life when I won't enjoy it as much? But this is the wrong framing, and here's why. Delaying your benefit doesn't mean you have to cut back in the early years. It just means you'll be spending from a different bucket, your portfolio instead of your Social Security check. But money is fungible. Whether it's coming from a retirement account or a government check, it's still buying that trip to Italy, or it's still buying your weekly groceries at the store. So the real important question is, which money should I spend first to give me the best long-term outcome? And that's where things get interesting. Let's frame this with data. Take a 62-year-old couple with $2 million in retirement assets. They want their plan to last at least 30 years. Now, sure, they might not live that long, but retirement planning isn't about preparing for the most likely outcomes. It's the same reason we prepare for a 50% market crash, even if we don't expect one over the next year. Most retirees plan quite conservatively. They don't spend based on rosy assumptions or even median market outcomes. Instead, they aim for success across the worst 25% of, let's say, historical scenarios, because those are the ones that can derail a plan. The 4% rule, for example, is built on surviving the worst 30-year period in history. When we model this couple's retirement over every 30-year period in the last 125 years, one insight becomes really clear. Delaying Social Security allows for higher sustainable spending, even in the early years. Yes, in the best market outcomes, claiming at 62 may allow for more spending overall, but most retirees aren't planning for the best cases. In the best case, you are able to spend what you want, likely increase that spending over time, and still leave an amazing bequest to the next generation. Most retirees focus and worry about the floor, not just the ceiling. And when you prioritize security, delaying Social Security leads to a stronger, more resilient plan and higher spending right off the bat. Here's another way to visualize it. Imagine two spending paths. In one, you file for Social Security at 62. Your portfolio withdrawals are lower early on, which feels good. But remember, if you have a data-driven plan, you're not spending more at this phase. Because of filing early, your Social Security income remains smaller. So your portfolio has to work much harder, especially if markets underperform, inflation is higher, or you live longer than expected. Delaying Social Security reverses this. Yes, you spend more from your portfolio up front, but in exchange, you reduce future reliance on market returns, and that can make your plan more durable. Misconception number two: the break-even for delaying is so far in the future, I might never reach it. This one comes up quite a lot. The concern is, if I wait until age 70 or even maybe age 67 to claim Social Security, I won't come ahead unless I live into my 80s. What if I don't make it that far? And yes, longevity is the wild card in any Social Security decision. If you knew with certainty you weren't going to live past 75, then delaying even to full retirement age wouldn't make sense. But here's where a lot of retirees go wrong. Most people underestimate their longevity. Too often, people use life expectancy from birth, which is around age 78 in the US. But that figure includes deaths from accidents, illness, and tragedies at a younger age. If you made it to your 60s, you've already outlived those early risks. What matters now is life expectancy from your current age. In 2025, if you're 62, a male has a life expectancy of nearly 84. A female has a life expectancy of about 86. This can put your brain in a little bit of a pretzel, but yes, the older you get, the longer you're expected to live. And that's before we even account for things like income, education, or health, which can increase life expectancy for some retirees. Let's talk about break-evens, however. Say you're 62 and eligible for a $3,200 monthly benefit at full retirement age. If you delay till 70, that benefit grows significantly thanks to delayed credits. On the screen, I've modeled a break-even using a moderately conservative investment return for your portfolio. Since delaying means you're drawing from your portfolio ahead of time, so portfolio return matters here, and inflation adjustments to Social Security. Here's what the analysis shows. The break-even age where delaying starts to pull ahead is age 82. After that point, delaying Social Security results in more lifetime income. So yes, if you live to age 78, filing early as opposed to delaying would have technically paid more. But this isn't the only way to think about break-evens. I get the impression from some retirees that they think about break-evens as a sort of a cliff. But this isn't a situation where if you die 1 year short of your break-even, you've quote-unquote lost. If you pass away at 81, you're not out hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're likely down just a few $1,000s. Same goes if you live to age 83. You're only modestly ahead. The real impact of delaying isn't felt in the middle years. It's in the extremes. If you die young, say at age 70, claiming early gives you more wealth. Social Security at 62 allow you to receive 8 years worth of income versus 0 years from delaying. But in the grand scheme of retirement, you would be just fine. Your risk of running out of money at age 70 is unbelievably low even with a poorly built plan. Now in this situation, your heirs inherit less, which is not nothing, but it's not catastrophic. But if you live longer than expected, well into your 90s or beyond, that's when retirement gets really hard. Portfolios are stressed further. Inflation has had more time to compound. Markets may not cooperate. This is when guaranteed inflation-adjusted income from Social Security becomes incredibly valuable. The risk trade-off here is not symmetrical. The downside of delaying and dying early, your plan is still fine. Your heirs get a little bit less. The downside of claiming early and living a long life, you might outlive your money or be forced to make painful spending cuts, and your heirs might get nothing. This is why smart retirement planning treats Social Security not as a break-even gamble, but as protection and a risk mitigator. Misconception number 3, my portfolio can outperform the benefits of delaying Social Security. Now let's be clear, this isn't a false statement. With strong enough market returns, it's entirely possible that taking Social Security early and letting your portfolio grow could come out ahead. Here's an example on the screen. We're using the same break-even format as before, but this time we're assuming a 10% annual portfolio return. Even by age 95, the strategy of delaying hasn't caught up. So yes, high returns can make early claiming look like a better move. Now, you might expect me to argue that using a 10% return is unrealistic, that it ignores volatility, sequence risk, and market uncertainty. And that's all true. But I want to take a little bit different direction here. Let's talk about the utility of money. Not all dollars are equally valuable to us. This is the core idea behind the utility of money. Imagine you have $100,000 saved. An extra $10,000 of savings is an absolute game changer. But if you have $10 million saved, that same $10,000 barely moves the needle. This concept matters when we're comparing filing strategies across different market environments. In years where portfolios perform exceptionally well, early filers can enjoy more spending capacity, but that extra capacity comes on top of already high levels. Let's use a hypothetical example here. Say you retired in the 1980s, an era of really strong market returns. Filing at 62 might have given you a spending capacity of $25,000 per month in hindsight, while delaying to 70 would have given you only $22,500 per month. That's a $2,500 difference, but both levels likely exceed what that retiree can comfortably spend. The utility of that extra $2,500? Relatively low. Now contrast that with a retiree in the 1960s, a much tougher market period. Filing early might have supported $10,000 per month, while delaying could have boosted it to $11,000 per month. Here the dollar difference is smaller, but the impact is much higher. That extra $1,000 per month could be the difference between really having to tighten that spending belt or having quite a bit of peace of mind. It's also not just about the math, it's about behavior. There's strong research showing that retirees with higher levels of guaranteed income, like Social Security income, feel more comfortable spending. They're less anxious, less prone to underspending, and more likely to enjoy retirement. This insight is often used to promote income annuities, but you don't have to buy anything to get the same psychological benefit. Delaying Social Security can give you that confidence just using the assets you already have. Yes, your portfolio could potentially outperform the benefits of delaying, but the extra performance often comes in scenarios where you're already more than fine. The real value of delaying shows up when markets are weaker, when spending power is tighter, and when longevity risk is the highest. Finally, there are going to be some watching this video that think all of this information is well and good, but it's really a moot point if Social Security is going broke. We obviously have some major solvency concerns right now in America, but this is not a new issue for Social Security. On the screen, I have a snapshot from the 1981 Social Security Trustee Report. You'll notice I highlighted a section with wording, quite similar to today. Without corrective legislation, the Social Security Trust Fund will not be able to cover payments on time, no later than July 1983. Sound familiar? It was then in 1983 that a bunch of changes were made to improve the solvency of Social Security, such as payroll tax increases, pushing back full retirement age, and then taxing Social Security benefits. The government has a history of fixing Social Security to ensure benefits are made on time, and we have no reason to believe that won't be the case in the future, outside of complete speculation and political predictions. Don't let speculation control your Social Security filing strategy. And if you're looking for more proof for why we aren't likely to see Social Security cuts in the future, click on this video right here where I talk about 5 reasons Social Security won't be cut in your lifetime. Click here to learn more, and always remember, you don't need more money, you need a better plan. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.